Donte, just when you first found out the matchup, like what are just your initial? You guys have played against this new look Lakers team once. You guys obviously have full strength, but what's just kind of your interpretation of them and what they provide, given how they're currently?
No matter who we were going to face, obviously respect our opponent. But knowing what since the trade that they made, playing really well. The guys are playing with a lot of energy. They're playing together. So, we've watched film. You know what you have to take away. And there's certain guys that no matter what you throw at them, they're that good that they'll find different ways to be effective during a game. So for us, it's just to stay with it, follow our game plan, be very disciplined, and stay together.
You certainly got confidence in the catch and shoot, but Ian was talking about wanting to get off the ball and making sure that everybody else is like, if it's 5 straight catch and shoots from you, that's what we need. Was that like a message that gets kind of sent throughout the practices throughout these couple of days of like, you have to take that shot, you have to take that shot?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an emphasis throughout the entire season, but I think different, obviously when you're playing different opponents every single night, you're not as focused on it. But going into the playoffs, we have a few keys that we're focused on and we're locking in on. But the biggest thing is the confidence factor. It's like if they're taking the ball out of Ant's hands, you have an open shot, let it fly. Because once that happens, then it just loosens up the defense, it opens everything else up. And it also is just it's a confidence booster for everybody in the locker room. Everybody knows that whoever's going to give the ball up, the next person is going to have a wide open shot to get a good one. And there's nobody on the team going to try to do it themselves. And Ant's at the forefront of that of just building confidence in everybody on the team.
Donte, what's the value of the depth that you guys have specific to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, look at it, I think Finchie has talked about it throughout the season. We have 8 starters. I think that's how we've legitimately looked at this year. Ups and downs, no matter what, and then you go into the playoffs, and that's a luxury. It's our job throughout the whole regular season is make it hard on Finchie to decide who's he going to go with in the fourth and this and that. And then now it's at that point where you have 8, 9, 10 different guys where you can throw out there and go with at any different point. And we have so many different guys where you can adjust if they're hurting us in different aspects. But also I think just to be able to, to be conditioned, to be, be able to wear teams down, and just to grind for a full 48 minutes. And I think having that many people and that deep, it's a luxury to have.
You get last year in New York, I know you guys had a lot of injuries, but you were kind of playing like 7 guys in that series. And I guess that kind of like show you the other side of it, of like how it is possible to kind of
I mean,
wear down without that depth.
We have got, like, don't get me wrong, we have the the depth here, but that doesn't mean that we're going to use it every single night. And I think that's what the playoffs are about. So it might be my night, it might be somebody else's night. And I think throughout the whole year we've come together a lot. So I think we're at a point right now where we understand that the ultimate goal is to just win games, and every game is going to be different. So some guy might have it go on one game and you ride with him, and you might play 7 guys. I don't know what Finch is going to do. We don't know. We just have the understanding of whoever is on the court that's win your minutes and win your matchup, and we'll be fine.
You talk about everything kind of coming together for this group, especially in recent weeks when everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
What do you think took the longest, especially for you and Julius, kind of integrating, just to kind of get
we moved completely almost across the country and unexpectedly, so it takes time. These guys have never played with us, and we've never played with them. We've never been coached. I mean, Julius has, but I've never been coached by Finchie. So it just takes time to develop that chemistry on and off the court. It's a difficult thing to achieve, but I think we have gotten there, and we've had ups and downs throughout the year. And I think those ups and downs and guys getting injured and having bad games, good games, it's made us closer. And I think right now, like I said, we've gotten to the point of the season where everybody, the regular season's over, all your personal accomplishments and everything, like everything's out the window, and now it's trying to get 16 wins, and that's what we're focused on.
Do you feel like off the court was a little bit harder than on?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard. In terms of Julius and I, we talked about it with Chris before. It's like you're moving your family. You worry about your family, you worry about your kids, and your fiance, your wife, and that's you have to establish that first out here. And then but these guys made it easy for us in terms of feeling welcomed, feeling a part of this family, and it just takes time. There's nothing that was that was negative about coming here at all. It just takes time, and I think as time went on, like we're really, really close now.
All the conversation in the NBA is always like playoffs are different, playoffs are different, playoffs are different. Does individual confidence in the playoffs that you can compete at that level, is that something that grows with time?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, you have to have confidence in yourself. Like, no one's going to be out there if they don't have confidence in themselves. Those are guys that aren't going to play. And I say that because you don't know if you're going to play 10 deep. You don't know if you're going to play 6 or 7 guys. So as long as you're out there and you're playing with the utmost confidence that no matter who's on the other side, it doesn't matter. You feel like you're the best team in the playoffs, and you feel like you're one of the best players on the court. Like, you have to have that confidence at this stage, because it's not just a regular game.
So what you did last year, does that do anything to make you feel any differently?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what you're capable of doing throughout the playoffs. So you have your starting confidence level is higher, I would say. And you have guys like Mike, who's been around for 100 years. So I know his confidence is super high. He has seen it all, and we'll rely on that. We'll go to him when things aren't going well and get us to settle down and everything. And that's our leader.
Ant's only 23, but he's got a good amount of playoff.
It's the same. His confidence it doesn't matter if he's in Game 7 of the finals or Game 1 of preseason. The dude's confidence is all-time high. And I think with that being said, that goes to everybody. Like, his confidence, his voice, talking trash, with getting into each other with each other, and being passionate about the game and having that confidence, it wears on everybody else, and it bleeds into everybody, and everybody goes out there thinking that they're the best player on the court.
The way he talked to us yesterday about his approach offensively to the game and how he wants to attack what he thinks is going to be their defense seemed like all the right things. Like, how have you just seen him this week in terms of just locking into what's going to be required?
He knows what needs to be done. He's a very smart player. He said 23, but he knows what is needed from him, and he has guys around him that, if what he's doing in the current moment isn't what's needed, he has guys around him that will get him back on track to what is needed. And he is so talented and he's so coachable that he hops right back on to what's needed, and he can single-handedly win us a game, or he can defer and be that playmaker for everybody else to help everybody else win the game.
We've seen that where after a game he might say something and it's like maybe it doesn't exactly align with what Finch said or whatever, but then after like a practice session he's just totally back on track.
Yeah.
What's it like seeing a star player who is so like coachable, like you mentioned?
He's a good person, and he's coachable, and like I said, he has the utmost confidence in himself and his IQ of basketball. So I think that's the beautiful thing about being 23 and having being so young and having a different view of the game. And then you talk to coach, you talk to guys like Julius and Mike that see the game differently or the same, and that's the conversation that we've had throughout the year. Those guys have been great, and we come back in the next day and we go back to work, and there's never been a time in the season where somebody's not on the same page as everybody.
Do you see a team that Gab helps heavily and get excited? Or
I mean, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be aggressive and, I'll take my open shots and try to stretch the defense as much as possible and open it up for everybody else.
What is the limit of like how far you're willing to go out and comfortably?
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
When the trade happened, there was kind of, at least in the fan base, a lot of concern about Ant, getting this leadership role at 23. What have you seen from him over the year, just his growth as a leader?
He's matured, but also I go back to, he's a good person. You can't have somebody in that position that's not a good person. So first and foremost, that that checks the box. But also people forget, like, you have Mike Conley. I always go back to Mike whenever something doesn't look right or feel right. Mike's always there to communicate with everybody, and I think it's not just what Ant says. I think collectively we sit down in the locker room, we talk, and and he has a huge input. That's not taking his voice or his leadership away. It's just he's open to hearing everything from everybody, and then we collectively make a decision and we ride with it and we ride it together.
Is that something that, like, you've been on obviously championship teams that have gone deep in the playoffs? Is that something that kind of like you can connect the dots with on winning teams, just a bunch of good guys, open communication, or is this different?
Yeah, I mean, you don't see many teams that have bad guys that win. So, I mean, it just goes right there. You have good guys, communication, and play hard, and it's a good recipe to win games. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.